Hello, my name is Calantha Tillotson. I'm the Instructional Services Librarian here at East Central University's Lynchside Library, and this is...
Hello, my name is Dr. Amy Ward, and I'm the Director of the Social Work Program here at ECU.
And today what we're going to be doing is going through a kind of an introduction to de-escalation and how it can be applied to libraries. So anybody who is working at the front desk, at the reference desk, just roaming through the library, when you have patrons who come up and ask questions, or you just observe in the library, there's a possibility that you will run across somebody who is in crisis, who is heightened. And so it's important for us to be able to calm the situation down enough to refer that patron to whoever or whatever organization can help them best.
So in order to do that, you really need to understand what the meaning of de-escalation is. So just a quick definition, de-escalation is all about conflict resolution, really even resolving problems, and maybe even bargaining, to figure out a better outcome, one that's not so emotionally charged and one that everybody can agree to. So when we think about de-escalation, a lot of times in social work we apply that with vulnerable populations or folks who are in crisis, which is how Calantha mentioned the library would like to apply these skills. So, just a quick note before we get started on the techniques of de-escalation. Your safety is the utmost important. We want to make sure that you are safe in every interaction that you have. So if ever you feel like there's risk or danger, or even great fear with approaching someone who seems like they're in crisis, I would immediately say stop, get away, get help. And remember that your safety is just very important to us.
Yes, to just piggyback off that, it is important to care for our patrons. They are definitely a priority, but you are a priority first. So as we're going through these techniques, remember that and remember to take care of yourself. Hi, welcome back. So what we want to do now is to go through how to tell if someone is in crisis. So Amy, do you have a definition for us?
Sure. When you think about a crisis situation, you want to think about first the word agitation. If you see someone who's agitated, who's highly anxious, who maybe even seems dangerous or in the mode of having defensive behavior, that's definitely something that needs to be de-escalated and de-escalated quickly, keeping in mind your safety, of course.
And on the topic of safety, one of the things to keep in mind is there are situations that you cannot de-escalate in which violence could occur. And so let's go over a couple of those conditions that might lead to violence. The first one is it's possible that there might be an angry or hostile individual, or even not just a patron, but a coworker. Another thing is if the person is intoxicated, whatever the substance might be. A third one is if somebody has persistent mental illness. Another one is a domestic violence dispute, a homeless person, or someone who is just a disgruntled coworker. So when that happens, it's important to remember that the most important thing is to refer them on. Do not try to handle the situation yourself.
Okay, just a side note to what Calantha said, that's that just because someone is living with a condition that she mentioned in the list, whether that be mental illness or even homelessness, we just want to make sure that you understand it doesn't mean that they will be violent or aggressive. It just simply means that we need to be aware of these conditions and de-escalate when appropriate.
Hello again. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be demonstrating 10 different tips for de-escalation, and in these demonstrations Amy is going to be our library staff member and I am going to be the patron. Amy, take it away.
Sure. Number one is all about respecting personal space. Number two, you need to stay calm. So if you approach someone in crisis, it would be important to lower your voice and maybe even have a seat with them. Number three, establishing verbal contact. Maybe that's something as easy as, hello, my name's Amy, I'm the librarian here, and it looks like you might need some help.
Yes, please.
Great, glad to help. Number four, keep it short and simple. I think the short interactions are key. What can I do for you today?
Well, I'm just really looking for some coffee right now.
Okay, great, I'm glad to help. Number five is all about identify wants and feelings. So if your patron is in crisis, it would be really important to ask, of course, how you can help, how they're feeling today. So it might look something like this. You know, it looks like you might need some assistance. What's going on today?
Yeah, I'm just feeling really stressed out. I'm not sure I can get everything done that I need to.
Okay, so you're feeling really stressed out in the moment?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I can help.
Okay.
Next, you want to listen closely. And that's kind of what I did in the last demonstration, is I repeated back what she said. So I said, or I asked her what was wrong, and she said,
Well, you know, I'm just feeling really stressed out right now. I'm not sure I can get everything accomplished that I need to.
okay, so I hear you say that you're feeling really stressed.
Yeah.
Next, agree to disagree. So if there's something that you cannot help the patron with, it's okay to admit, you know, I don't think I'll be able to help you with this, but let me see if I can get someone who can. And that's a good example of being able to move on from a situation that's got some turmoil in it. You know, set boundaries. That can be physical boundaries, but it can also be, if you have a disgruntled patron that's coming towards you, you can ask them, you know, can you back up just a little bit? And even demonstrate that and back up a little bit. You know, we offer multiple choices or other choices. So if you can't help, maybe you can find someone that can. Maybe you can offer resources to the person that's in crisis. That's also really important. And then lastly, that we really want to highlight here is the importance of debriefing. So you need to have a great circle of people around you, and you do at the library to debrief with your colleagues, your supervisor, or whoever it is, or even a professional debriefer if you need that help.
And it's really important to keep that in mind because as we talked before about safety, you are important to the library. We appreciate the time and effort and heart that you bring to this job. And so it's really important that you keep tabs on your mental health as you are dealing with people in crisis, and you go and you seek help whenever you need it.
And also, you know, you don't have to be the professional social worker, the counselor, the police officer. That's not your role in this situation. So if things get out of hand, seek professional help. And whether you need it for yourself or to refer a patron in crisis, that's what social workers are here for.
Hello. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now that we kind of have these tips on how to de-escalate, we are going to be doing a role playing. Again, in this scenario, I am going to be the patron in crisis, and the wonderful Amy will be our library staff member. God, what am I? This is not working. What is happening?
Hi there.
Hi.
My name's Amy, and I'm a staff member here at the library. It seems like something's going on. How can I help you?
Yeah, classes are supposed to start in like a week, and I cannot seem to enroll, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and I'm really, really frustrated.
I would be frustrated too, so you're having a hard time with enrollment. Can I sit down with you for a minute?
Yeah, that's fine.
Great. What's going on? What is
Well,
it?
it keeps telling me that I have some kind of hold on my account, and I thought I paid all my bills, and so I want to be able to actually attend my classes next week.
Sure, I bet that's frustrating.
Yeah.
And I want you to be able to attend your classes too. And you know, there's some things we can do. You know, I can't enroll you here. I don't really know how to do that, how to handle that. But I know that we have the Academic Success Center, and we have multiple services here on campus that will help you to enroll. And I can take you over there right now if you'd like.
Okay, yeah. Do you think they'll be able to get it done today?
I'm confident, yeah.
Okay, let me get my stuff.
Sure, let me help you.
Oh, thank you.
All right, just
Okay.
come right this way.
Let's do it.
During the last demonstration, I hope you can look back on the demonstration and see the 10 areas of de-escalation that were applied. You know, first, as I was portraying the library staff, I was able to come in and really respect personal space, and I stayed calm. I was also able to establish verbal contact with our patron and determine what was wrong and what was going on. I think it's important to be able to get down on the same level as your patron, you know, someone that's in crisis, and just, you know, have a seat with them, ask if you can have a seat with them. And then, you know, we kept it short, sweet, and simple, right to the point. You know, I was able to repeat what was going on with her, what was wrong, or paraphrase, and then help her to get some referrals. And then it's important to even go a step above and maybe take that person to where they need to go.
Yes, so what I wanted to say that I thought was really important to keep in mind is that she was setting really clear boundaries, because there are some things that we cannot do at the library. What we can do is to refer them to the people who can help. And so yes, it's important not to bounce them back and forth between different offices across campus. So if you are available, or maybe you can go and get your supervisor, they can be available to walk the patron across campus so that they don't feel like they've just been cut off.
And one thing we didn't do, because we couldn't, and that's the debriefing
Yes.
portion of this. And what we did afterwards in this imaginary world is that we, if it stressed me out as the library staff member, maybe I went to debrief with my supervisor. So just depending upon what happened and what level of de-escalation you had to go to, it's really important to follow up with the debrief.
Yes, and if the situation gets to the point where you cannot de-escalate them, it is important to remember that it is not on you. Just like we talked about at the beginning, your safety really does matter, so that's when you need to go and speak to your supervisor and they will handle it.
Absolutely.